What's a movie that no matter the age everyone will like? This isn't true, and I wish it was. I'm counting down the years until I can show this to my nephew. He's just too young and it'll scare the shit out of him, but not in a fun movie. Oh man, that would be scary to live that kind of way. More like it would fuck him up, because he'll think it's a documentary and maybe ruin dinosaurs for him. Can confirm. When I was 8 I could barely watch it because it terrified me. A year later I was really into it and awoken my love for dinosaurs and paleontology. Very nice. I saw Jurassic Park in the cinema when I was about 6. It was pretty intense, but I was more scared of Jumanji because the hitting pipes in our house used to knock, and it reminded me of the jungle drums. Also the monkeys were freaky looking. Yay, but that's the fun of movies, innit? Being scarred by movies as a kid is the best kind of childhood LMAO. Sort of. He's 5. He's finally brave enough to make it through the scary parts of Disney films. He's got another couple of years before he can handle children screaming bloody murder from velociraptors hunting them in a kitchen or a tyrant lizard king, queen, crushing them in a car during a hurricane. Sort of. He's 5. He's finally brave enough to make it through the scary parts of Disney films. He's got another couple of years before he can handle children screaming bloody murder from velociraptors hunting them in a kitchen or a tyrant lizard king, queen, crushing them in a car during a hurricane. They're people in costume. At one point you can actually see one of them pull its headpiece back on. Not sure if that will help her cope. I have a Pavlovian aversion to The Lion King after a 5-hour drive with fellow members of my youth marching band who insisted on listening to the Lion King soundtrack non-stop the whole way there. I loved going back to read Roger Ebert's review of the films because it sums them up pretty well. Neat, but ultimately just action movies made for 12-year-old boys and not particularly good adaptations. I saw them when I was 18, so I was already outside the target audience, and like you, found them painfully boring. You gotta remember, this was a few years after The Matrix and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon had come out. There were far better action movies out there, far better action movies playing in the same theater. Well, no matter who you are, you will find something to love about them. I want to say Galaxy Quest, but I'm not sure if you need enough life experience to understand the joke, or if it's hilarious enough without. I absolutely detest Schindler's List. It's a movie where a Nazi is literally the hero and we are supposed to cheer for that. Oh, it's okay. Oskar Schindler didn't use slave labor because he hated Jews. He merely used slave labor because he was a greedy war profiteer. The profit motive absolves him of all guilt. Now, peons, welcome your capitalist overlords. The real Oskar Schindler even handed Jews over to the death camps on demand. If we are to celebrate him, because not every one of the Jews in his slave labor factories were exterminated, then when can we expect Spielberg to make a film extolling Adolf Eichmann, because the final solution was ultimately unsuccessful? Ratatouille. It has a good storyline that kept me entertained as a kid. But in my teens now, I realize how good this film is. I can barely watch movies now because I overanalyze it or I get bored, especially with today's movies, but this movie speaks and captivates me. There are so many good parts in the movie and this is one of my favorite. In many ways, the work of a critic is easy. We risk very little, yet enjoy a position over those who offer up their work and themselves to our judgment. We thrive on negative criticism, which is fun to write and to read. But the bitter truth we critics must face is that in the grand scheme of things, the average piece of junk is probably more meaningful than our criticism designating it so. But there are times when a critic truly risks something, and that is in the discovery and defense of the new. The world is often unkind to new talent, new creations. The new needs friends. Last night, I experienced something new, an extraordinary meal from a singularly unexpected source. To say that both the meal and its maker have challenged my preconceptions about fine cooking is a gross understatement. They have rocked me to my core. In the past, I have made no secret of my disdain for Chef Gusteau's famous motto, anyone can cook. But I realize, only now do I truly understand what he meant. Not everyone can become a great artist, but a great artist can come from anywhere. It is difficult to imagine more humble origins than those of the genius now cooking at Gusteau's, who is, in this critic's opinion, nothing less than the finest chef in France. I will be returning to Gusto soon, hungry for more. It's such a great film. Surf ninjas. Funny and absurd enough for adults and kids alike. Young Rob Schneider as the comedic sidekick and Leslie Nielsen as the bad guy. Martial arts, coming of age, and a big battle at the end. The only way not to like it is to take it seriously. Finding Nemo. It has real life problems. Wizard of Oz / White Chicks FTW. Trains, planes, and automobiles. Ghostbusters. So many 80s movies have a lot of element that date them, but Ghostbusters only betrays itself as an 80s movie by the clothes some of the characters wear. Otherwise it's timeless and the comedy is some of the best of any movie. But that's what happens when you have lifelong comedy friends both behind and in front of the camera. Sil took niece with us inside the haunts at an amusement park B/C. She begged. She used this line too. Instead they all beelined straight for her. My mom used to work at a haunted house. She loved to tell the story where someone came in with a baby. My mom screamed, "Give me the baby," and they did. They handed my mom, who was in full costume and makeup, a live baby, and then ran away. Nothing like that happened at the haunted houses I worked at. Oh my god, how were they allowed to go in with a baby? Also, who would want to bring their baby in? WTF. You could so easily trip and drop one in the dark, let alone scare the daylights out of the little dude. I mean, yeah, that's been me the past 2 years. Had my baby right before COVID. But I'm shocked they let you bring a baby in. That's asking for a bad time. If I'm getting out, I'm trying to have a good time. Strangely enough, thinking from a purely animalistic perspective, giving up the baby is the most logical thing to do. As animals do in the wild, you can always make another baby, but if you die protecting said baby, then you're both dead. Maybe their primal instincts kicked in, maybe they are just assholes. We'll never know. I only wanted to break character once, but I was able to maintain. In college, I volunteered at a big haunted house near Pittsburgh. I was a bigger dude, so they dressed me up as kind of Great Value Jason, and it was my job to stand in this small dip in the wall and then jump out as people went by. Once I jumped out in front of a few high schoolers, and one of the guys takes a few steps towards me and X me in the chin. Now, I was considerable bigger than this guy, and he was probably drunk and obviously very scared. So, really slow, I just stand up straight, so I'm now standing about a foot taller than him and scream. He and his friends very quickly sidestep away and continue on. But fuck, my chin and teeth ached for the rest of the night. Don't mind me, I'll be giggling for days over Great Value Jason. Great Value is Walmart brand, so basically he's saying he was a secondary, perhaps tertiary version of the brand of Jason, on a budget. I remember going to a haunted house once where some guy popped out of the wall holding a chainsaw. Then he turned around and started taking a shit on the floor. Everybody in my group freaked out and didn't know if he was supposed to do that. I'm sure he broke character. I was working at a haunted house in downtown San Diego, California. I played the role of a zombie bride. We had a couple come through the haunted house and did not expect me to jump out from my hiding spot. When I scared them, the dude threw his girlfriend at me and ran like a wimp. I felt so bad for the girl. I broke character, took a smoke break, and walked her outside. They ended up breaking up in the parking lot. That poor girl was scared out her mind, and I'll never forget her terrified face when I jumped out at them.